Welcome everyone to this Vulval Pain Society social media live. And as always, thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live right now or the replay. I am Sheren Gaulbert, Vulval Pain Society Trustee, Therapist and Pain Science Educator. Please say hi in the comments if you're watching live. And as we go along today, feel free to post comments or questions in that box as we go along. As usual, we have the lovely Kay Thomas from the Vulval Pain Society in the background on Facebook, who will also keep an eye on your comments. Do let me know that you can hear me, by the way. Just say hi and just say, yep, can hear you, Sheren, loud and clear, which would be great. I can see there's a few of you already in there. I just need to know that you can hear us. We are always excited to welcome researchers on our lives, and today we are going to be chatting with we're going to be chatting recurrent thrush research with the brilliant Tori Ford. Hi, Tori.
Hi everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today.
So excited. And we've got a comment saying, yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Thanks for joining us. Tori, you're a DPhil student at Nuffield Department of Primary Care Health Sciences, University of Oxford. Let's start with a little bit more about you, if that's okay. Spring that on you, a little bit about your background and what led you to this field of study.
For sure. So I'm originally from Montreal, Canada, if you're wondering what this accent is about. But I've been in the UK for a while and actually come from a background in gender studies and patient advocacy. So I run a not-for-profit called Medical Her Story, where we're working to eliminate sexism, shame, and stigma from health experiences. And through that work, I was hearing a lot of stories of people being, dismissed within healthcare or maybe not getting taken seriously. And I myself had lived with recurrent thrush for about 5 years. So I really wanted to make a difference. And I knew there really wasn't a lot of research talking to patients about how they were feeling and how we could improve things. And that's why I decided to do my PhD in this field, to hear about, the good, the bad, and what could be improved when it comes to recurrent thrush.
Yeah. I love that you've gone from your lived experience and decided, I'm going to do something about this.
Mm-hmm.
That's lovely to hear. Okay, so shall we jump into what do we mean by? I think I know what you mean by recurrent thrush, but tell me what do we mean by recurrent thrush? What's the actual definition here?
Yeah, for sure. So I assume most people are familiar with thrush, but if you're not, it is also known as a yeast infection sometimes and causes symptoms of genital itching, burning, discomfort, and changes in discharge. And it's very common. So if you've had it, you are not alone. About 3 out of 4 people assigned female at birth and women will have it in their life. But for about 1.2 million women in the UK alone, this discomfort and related embarrassment isn't just a one-off occasion, but it happens on a repeated or constant basis, and that's what's known as recurrent thrush. So if you've ever had that discomfort that keeps coming back, maybe you've gone to see a healthcare professional about it, they've told you it's thrush, and you're taking medication, maybe it's not working, or you're just not really sure what's going on and what's causing it, you may be experiencing recurrent thrush. And I'm really interested in the topic because it affects so many people, and there's often a lot of taboo around it. So I'm trying to break that down so we can really improve things for all the patients suffering.
What was that figure again for recurrent thrush?
1.2 million women in the UK.
Wow.
Yeah, about 6% globally. So you are not alone if you are suffering. I think so often when you have different, vaginal health issues and vulva conditions, you feel like you're the only one. So really, I think those numbers help drive home that, you're not alone and there's so many people out there that could benefit from hearing your story.
Okay. And are there common comorbidities when it comes to recurrent thrush?
Definitely. So I'm really fortunate that My study is supported by a fantastic team of patient representatives, and they've really taught me a lot about this. So people living with HIV, people who have diabetes, if you're immunocompromised, you may be more likely to suffer from recurrent thrush, but also a lot of people have it and they don't know the cause and other things have been ruled out. We also know that people who have other vulva pain conditions may also have recurrent thrush. Sometimes it can be, different things can trigger each other. Antibiotic use can trigger it. There's a lot of different things, but it's not sexually transmitted. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's very common. And if you're suffering, it's okay to talk about it. I think that's such an important message. But yeah, it can be linked to a lot of different things and different, outcomes.
You mentioned antibiotic use, and we had a brilliant live stream with Siobhan O'Mahony last year about the gut-brain axis, gut-brain microbiome axis. And of course, when you take antibiotics, it just cleans out all the good stuff, all the good bacteria as well. So I notice in your email you mentioned something about mismanaging microbiomes. What did you mean by that?
Sure. So that's just sort of one of the titles for my study. So to break that down, really, like we said, the microbiome in this case is the vaginal microbiome, which just refers to, all of the yeast and bacteria and viruses that, make up the vaginal ecosystem, if you will. And unfortunately, this is such a fragile sort of ecosystem that it can get thrown out of whack by, using the wrong soap, by staying in, your gym clothes a bit too long, by, like we said, taking antibiotics, maybe changing your diet. There's so much there that can affect it. And sort of the mismanaging little play on words comes in there because so often with thrush, there is this combination of, who should be managing it? Is it worth seeing a GP for? Should I manage it on my own? What's the right treatment for it? There's a lot of these uncertainties there. So sort of, the mismanagement of both managing and mismanaging microbiomes is really what I'm interested in, and sort of those patient-provider relationships, those self-care dynamics. I'm really hoping to learn more about that in my study, and I think that's what's going to give us the answers to improve things down the line.
Brilliant. We've got a comment here from Marie who says antibiotics caused mine. Yeah. You mentioned the wrong soap. Now, of course, we are talking about something that is self-cleaning. I can't remember who it is who calls it a self-cleaning oven. It's one of our brilliant clinicians we've had on before. But it is self-cleaning. So perhaps just keeping soap away from that area. Would you agree with that?
Totally, yes. So any, douches, harsh chemicals, scents, I definitely would stay away from. I'm a big fan of, if you are going to clean yourself, 100%, glycolic soap, something very natural. But of course, we're just talking about your vulva internally, self-cleaning, leave it alone. It knows what it's doing. It has for centuries, definitely. And I think what's really hard with recurrent thrush is often, you feel dirty, you feel unclean, you're embarrassed about it, you're worried about it, and therefore you can overcompensate. So we hear a lot of people that will, go to these extreme lengths of bathing and showering a lot, using different chemicals, trying home remedies with, garlics and vinegars and all these things. And I would really, I've heard about
garlic on the vulva.
And I think, it's just sad because you get so desperate. You're looking for anything. And when you Google online, unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So like we said, self-cleaning, we know it's uncomfortable when you have thrush, but none of that is going to make it any better, unfortunately.
Yeah. Katie asked, what about emollients on the vulva? And of course, certainly, that can be, if you want to clean, then emollients can be a good route, whether it's epiderm. There's all sorts of emollients that could work. And we're talking about comorbidities. If you have lichen sclerosis, then of course, that's going to be important. Emollients, what do you say when it comes to thrush? Are they okay?
Yeah, I'd probably talk to your healthcare professional. I think everyone's bodies are different, but definitely if that's something you're interested in, talk to your healthcare professional.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, now I can hear you are pretty enthused and passionate about this area. Um, and I don't know whether part of that comes from, you've had a lived experience and, this is really important to you. Generally, what does make this research important?
Mhm. I think one of the things that's so interesting with recurrent thrush and thrush in general is it's one of those sort of women's health conditions that often gets dismissed. It gets overlooked as being normal or mundane or not that big of a deal. And I think what we've seen in studies is that actually recurrent thrush can have long-term negative effects on people's mental health. It can lead to
Mhm.
other sexual problems. It can lead to low self-esteem. And when people do seek out care, there's often a lot of shame and stigma associated with it. I think anything with your vulva and vagina can be so hard to talk about. And then unfortunately, what we've seen is that when people do speak up and they seek out care, reports like First Do No Harm, and we have the upcoming UK Women's Health Strategy, see that women are often told that their pain is normal or natural and not that big of a deal. So I think
Mm.
that this study, while it's about recurrent thrush experiences, it's also about this larger movement about listening to women's voices and researching and investing more in, the health of people who are assigned female at birth, and really, working with patients and providers to empower and educate them. And this is just one condition that I'm very passionate about, but I think it fits
Mhm.
into a lot of other things. And in my opinion, it's one that, the more you talk about it, the more you can improve things. And I think that's why I'm so happy to, break down those barriers and sort of lead that change to say that, it's okay to talk about, you're not alone and things can get better.
Mm. And this is, I guess I didn't quite realize this is quite a large study, isn't it? In a way, you've got a professional advisory board. I know our research advisor, Claudia Kazari, is on that board. And love this that you have patient representatives as well working with you. So
Mhm.
important. Who are you specifically looking to talk to?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm looking to talk to anyone who's over the age of 16, lives in England, and has had recurrent thrush. So if you've had, thrush that keeps coming back, returning, repeating, I'd really love to speak to you. And even if it was in the last 5 years, so maybe it was while you were pregnant, maybe different things were going on, and now you're better. I'd still really love to hear about your experience. And there's lots of options of how we can talk. It can be a video call. We can, meet up in person. We can do it over the phone, whatever you're comfortable with. And then hopefully we're looking towards making a great online resource for this. So if
Aha.
you are listening today and you're resonating with this and you're hearing your story reflected, definitely reach out. And even if you just want to have a chat with me, learn more about the study, see if you'd be a good fit, don't be shy. I'd really love to hear from you.
Yeah, and we will put your details up after the live. Real life meetings, where will they be?
In people's homes, wherever they're comfortable. We can meet
Ah,
at the university, a community center, really flexible and also really happy to respect COVID regulations and
yeah.
make people as comfortable as possible.
Would they have to be in the Oxford area to have in
No,
real life?
no, anywhere all over England. Yeah, we can come to you, no problem.
Amazing, brilliant. Okay, so thinking about this research, what sort of impact are you envisaging this having?
Mhm. So I think I'm in a very fortunate place where I have Medical Her Story, which is an amazing resource to impact patient lives directly. I read in a study that it takes about 14 years on average for information about women's health to reach the women affected when there's new research. So having this direct, impact and having, awesome allies in our corner like the Vulval Pain Society to talk to people about the research right when it's ready, I'm so excited about. So what we're planning to do is interview up to 40 women, people assigned female at
Uh-huh.
birth, trans people, non-binary people about their experiences, hoping to talk to as wide of a range, of people from different sexualities, ethnic minorities, religions, backgrounds, all of that. And with those stories, what we're looking to do is create an online resource for healthtalk.org, which is this fantastic platform that has video, audio, text clips about a range of health conditions. And with that, what we're hoping to do is, obviously normalize the conversation around thrush, but also help patients feel empowered to understand what their options are. If they want to seek out help and see a healthcare professional, how best to do that, and to hear from other people what worked for them and what didn't. And also, this health talk module is actually used in medical schools all across the UK to train people about how to care for patients. So I'm really looking forward to that. And Health Talk has an average, following of 8.5 million annual users. So I'm really excited to be able to impact, not only just the 1.2 million women living with recurrent thrush in the UK, but their doctors, their partners, their families, their support systems, to just understand the condition better, to learn about it, and ultimately hoping to underpin some improvements.
Brilliant. That's shocking, isn't it? 14 years from research to actually having it applied in practice.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit more about Medical Her Story?
Definitely. So Medical Her Story started about 3 years ago with my own story of living with recurrent thrush. And today we've shared over 40 stories of people, talking about taboo topics, whether that is abortion, whether that is, seeking out birth control, chronic illness, mental health, and how gender health inequities have impacted the care they received. We then take those stories and we use them in workshops to teach patients how to advocate for themselves. And we also teach healthcare professionals about how to eliminate some of those gender biases that we talk about. We also do, monthly events, which is a lot of fun, with storytelling sessions on taboo topics to break down those stigmas. And we're lucky enough to have a great presence on social media, on Instagram and TikTok, where we do some health literacy and health information. And it started off with just me and my story, and now we're over 100 volunteers in 7 different countries. So It's been a fantastic initiative to see how many people are interested. And Medical Her Story also does great work supporting studies like this one and others that are coming out from across the UK.
It's amazing. That's just amazing. Brilliant, Tori. Put a couple of questions coming in here. Can recurrent thrush cause recurrent urinary tract infection? Do you know?
Interesting. I wouldn't say that one causes one or the other, but there are definitely people who suffer from both chronic UTIs and recurrent or chronic yeast infections as well.
And then there's another comment here saying recurrent thrush caused my pudendal neuralgia through the ongoing infection and pain. It's been a nightmare. Really sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
You mentioned you want to talk to so over 16. Any upper age?
No.
On that? Great. Maureen is over 70 years of age and suffers recurrent thrush, but can't buy thrush treatment over the counter. Is that right?
Interesting. I'm not sure what the circumstances are for every individual. There is medication that should be available over the counter, and usually pharmacists are well aware of that and happy to help you if you ask them.
Yeah, do have a chat with your pharmacist, Maureen. So, all right. Anything else you'd like to mention? And this is we're having it's quite a brief live stream today because we're talking about research, and we know it's that time of the evening, and we've had quite a lot of live streams now, and attention may be a little bit shorter, so we understand that, so we're keeping it shorter today. But if you have any questions or comments, please pop them in that comments box because we'll be wrapping up pretty soon. But whilst that's happening, Tori, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just would say that, if you're not in research yourself, as I doubt many people are, or if this all seems a bit, unfamiliar to you, to definitely not be intimidated. I'm a patient like yourself. I'm a patient first and a researcher second. And really, it's just having a conversation about recurrent thrush. It can be completely anonymous. It can be, you share as much or as little as you want. And of course, there's a lot of agency throughout the process. That's really important to me, I think, as a patient advocate, that, you're involved at every step of the way. If you share something and then decide that you actually don't want that to be used in the research, you can remove that. You can, pull out of the study at any time. You can, add new information as it comes up. There's a lot of ways to get involved. And I would just encourage everyone that your voice matters. I know often we can think that, there's so much going on in our lives and that you don't have time to, change the world, but every single person has a story and your voice matters. And I think especially when it comes to a condition that there's so much stigma, every time you can talk about it and every time you share your own story, that encourages other people to do the same. And I think that it's time to talk about recurrent thrush. It's not something that's gotten its time in the spotlight. And I'm really excited about this project and excited that we've gotten institutional support. And I think now we just need support from patients to say that, they're ready to talk about it and show up for our community.
That's brilliant. There's a question here. I've popped your email address into the comments if people want to get in touch and are interested to contribute to this research and get involved and change this for the better. Couple of questions. Are there links between recurrent thrush and Vulvodynia? Anything coming through from what you've seen from the patient stories that you have so far?
So we've seen some people reporting this and also a few other studies about this, how having recurrent infections, whether that is thrush or UTIs or BV, can cause other pain issues. So things like vaginismus or vulvodynia. So if that is you, know that you're not alone in that.
Yeah. Medical Her Story. Is it a website? How can I access it, please?
I'm so glad you're interested. Yeah, you can find us medicalherstory.com. We have a website, and then at Medical Her Story. So Her Story, HERSTORY, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. We're everywhere.
Fantastic. Got a comment here, Lydia. I've been involved in research before and also worked with Medical Her Story, and I can personally say my experience was fantastic. Tori is really supportive and understanding. Smiley face. Oh. That's Lydia Louise. People saying that this is a valuable subject to talk about. It really is. Emma says, a couple more comments. I'm a women's health physio. I see a lot of women with chronic pelvic pain secondary to recurrent thrush. And there's another one here. Thank you for all the information. Very interesting. Would microbiological swab, or is it always necessary for formal diagnosis and for each presentation? Do we swab for thrush?
Yeah, you can. So to participate in the study, it can be if you were self-diagnosed or if you've been diagnosed by a healthcare professional. So either way, I'm happy to talk to you. But if that's a larger question about what doctors shouldn't do, that'll be put out in our study when we have some more research. But yeah, if you're worried about, whether it is thrush or maybe, a sexually transmitted infection or BV or something else, it is usually worth seeing a doctor to have that swab done and have it confirmed. And you can also self-swab, which I personally find a lot less invasive, and other people might as well, where it can be confirmed that, yes, it is in fact an episode of thrush. And then you'll make sure that what you're treating is the right thing.
Brilliant. Right, if there are no other comments coming up, just to mention, so medicalherstory.com, is that right?
Yeah.
Or at Medical Her Story on Twitter, and you're across social media, so look you up. Your details are in the comments box, and you can rewatch this live stream or any of our previous 21 on our Facebook events page, and I've popped a link up for that. And we have a full playlist of over 30 video replays on our YouTube channel, and I'm just going to pop that up into the comments box. Okay, let's just pop that up. Okay. and that's gone up too. Any final thoughts before we wrap up, Tori?
I think we covered everything, and I'm really just thankful for everyone who showed up today, asked their questions, shared their comments. Yeah, just thank you so much for having me on and holding this space to talk about, yeah, such an important topic that affects so many.
Yeah, thank you for coming on and talking about this important research. And I can see this is so valuable. And we'll pop up healthtalk.org as well, because that's where, once you have your findings, everything kind of will be on there as well, won't it? So, all right. So thank you so much, Tori.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you. We'll be returning soon with another live stream. So follow us, keep an eye on our usual social media pages for more information. If you're on Twitter or Facebook, please continue sharing our posts or retweeting so that we can get resources, messages out to more people and promote research studies like Tori's. A huge thank you to everyone who already shares. Oh, I can just see, yeah, lots of people just saying thank you. Listen, you are helping us. Every time you share a post or a tweet, you are helping us help more people who live with vulval pain of whatever kind. And you're helping healthcare professionals too, who treat people who live with vulval pain. Thank you, everyone. Yes, if you missed the beginning, as Kaza did, you can rewatch, and I've put the link up for you to rewatch. That is all from us today. Thank you again to Tori Ford, and thank you everyone who's watched either live or on the replay. Bye for now. See you next time. Bye.